I know that's what he gonna do when he get a chance to.
I know that sound right there.
Good evening.
All right.
You did? Oh.
Call the meeting to order. Roll call, please. I'm sorry. I do apologize. I do see,
Pastor Robertson.
all right. Do see Pastor Robinson here, if you wouldn't mind leading us in the opening prayer.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we're so grateful today for all the many blessings you've bestowed upon us. We're grateful for our lives, our health, our strength, your provision and your protection throughout the pandemic. And now that we are outside, have come through the other side of the pandemic, we pray and are grateful, oh God, for what you're doing for us right now. We pray for this evening's meeting. We pray, God, that all things will be done decently and in order. We pray that things that's on the agenda will be able to be accomplished. We pray for each commissioner and each ward that they're responsible for. Keep us in your care as your servants pray in the matchless name of your Son, Jesus. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Made a little progress.
All right, now we're at the roll call.
Commissioner Adams,
Present.
Commissioner Clark Griffin,
Present.
Commissioner Edwards,
Present.
Commissioner Henderson,
Present.
Commissioner Henry,
Present.
Commissioner Isom,
Present.
Commissioner Singleton,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Seats,
Present.
Mayor Mohammed. You have a quorum.
Thank you. Start by the approval of minutes, the regular minutes from October 16th, 2023. It's been moved by Commissioner Henderson, been supported by Commissioner Adams. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Edwards,
Present. Yes.
Commissioner Henderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Isom,
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Adams,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Griffin,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Seats.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Approval of accounts payable listings. We all had these in our email. Any questions? No, we'll be able to answer them. We'll get through it. Been moved by Commissioner Adams, been supported by Commissioner Singleton. Any discussion? Hearing none. Oh, I'm sorry. Commissioner Henry.
I just want the body know that we would usually have 30 minutes to get our questions answered. It didn't happen this time. Very disappointing, but I'm going to vote no.
Thank you for your vote. Could you call the roll, please? Oh, was it, did you have something?
No, I'm good.
Commissioner Adams?
Henderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
No.
Commissioner Isom,
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Adams,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Griffin,
Yes.
Commissioner Edwards,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Seats.
Yes.
Motion carried.
This time we'll have a presentation from Feeding America, West Michigan. And if you would, how long is this presentation?
Let's go 15 minutes.
15 minutes you have. Could you start the clock, please?
Cool as that.
All right. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me to come and present. My name is Ken Estelle. I'm the president and CEO of Feeding America West Michigan. So again, thank you for your invitation. Just for those that may not be familiar with us, I'm going to get a very quick overview, and then we'll get into the topic. Feeding America West Michigan is a private Michigan nonprofit organization. We were established as West Michigan Gleaners in 1981, changed our name to Feeding America in 2008. we opt to be a member of the Feeding America network of food banks, and we are one of 200 in the country, one of 7 Feeding America food banks in Michigan. We believe everyone in our service area should have access to safe and healthy food, and that is what we're going to talk about today. We gather food from the food industry. We sort, inspect, repackage this food and distribute it to about 700 different partners through the 40 counties that we serve in Michigan, the west side of the Lower Peninsula, and all of the Upper Peninsula. I'd like to introduce Ashley Haynes, who has come to help lay the groundwork and maybe I'd say set the stage for what we're going to talk about relative to expanding our food system in Benton Harbor.
Hi, everyone. Ashley Hines, let the record reflect, although I do believe you all know me. But thank you for inviting me to join you. I am the executive director of an organization called the Benton Harbor Community Development Corporation, and we connected with Feed America earlier this year through our work to expand the local food system. Currently, our work centers around food sovereignty, what it looks like when a community not just produces, but also distributes and consumes their own food, and what that looks like for a community like Benton Harbor. And since we've been doing this work, we have discovered this rich history of agriculture in our community that is still upheld by a lot of different groups, particularly the elders in this community. I personally have gotten produce from Commissioner Henry often, but there's just this network of elders in our community that barter and grow and have their own food system, which I thought was pretty unique. And so through asset mapping of the Empire Corridor, we were able to interview and talk to residents, and a lot of them discussed this desire to have a community garden. And we've since gone into our second season of the Flourish Community Garden, which is on Broadway at 820. We've also grew that program throughout this past year that now helps residents start gardens in their backyards. In partnership with a number of other groups, including Be Healthy Variant and Corewell Health, we facilitated various community discussions around our local food system and participated as well. We also host an event called Communion, which is a dinner series where we talked about it as well. And then we provide education for the community, not just on nutrition, but also how to grow and cultivate your own food. And we're currently rehabbing a house in the Empire Corridor to serve as a community resiliency hub, and a large part of that is going to focus on food cultivation and growing. And so that's why I'm excited about this concept with the Food Club, because as our work continues, it may not necessarily look like a garden, but the Food Club presents an interesting aspect of what something like expanding the food system could look like in Benton Harbor. We're also exploring, food entrepreneurs. There are a lot of food entrepreneurs in our community that may not have legitimized their businesses, but they're actively having an economic base in the city. So how can we better grow and support them as well? And so I'm excited to share this information with you guys so that as we continue to grow in our work, we realize the possibilities of what can happen here. Mm-hmm.
So to continue, we're going to go over some of the information. I also have a colleague, Joseph Jones, who is our director of, remember what you're director of, Strategic Initiatives and Partnerships. There we go. Talk a little bit about what we see in Berrien County and Benton Harbor in particular, and just to talk about food insecurity. And, if we look at Benton Harbor, a little over 20% food insecurity rate, which is almost double the state's average of about 11%. So we see there's a lot of need in the area, and from as I said, our mission is to ensure that everyone has access to safe and healthy food. And we see that based on the need, and then if we look at how we've been distributing food over time, this chart shows how our food distribution has occurred since 2015. And you can see a couple things. One, 2015, we have through 2018, the amount of food from the food pantry network and our mobile food distribution system was about the same, and then it diverged in 2019. 2020, we saw the pandemic where we saw the big increase in mobile food distribution as a result of the pandemic, and Subsequent to that, we've seen basically decline in the food pantry distribution. Our mobiles has come back down, but we're still above pre-pandemic levels. But if you look at that pantry line, that's the line that we believe the food club can impact. Sorry if I'm taking all your thunder here, Joseph, but and if we look at counties that have food clubs, so we have Berrien County, Kent, Ottawa, and Mason have a food club in there. And you can see that basically the distribution is split 50% from food pantries, including a food club, about 40%, a little bit more from mobile food distributions, and roughly 5 to 10% from other sources of food. If you look at Berrien County, as you saw in the prior chart, about a majority of the food comes from the mobile food pantries. And where we're looking at is how can we increase and do better in terms of food pantry or mobile food distribution, but food pantry distribution, where we believe the food club will be a potential impact for that. So again, just to show when Ottawa County launched their food club in 2019, you can see the amount of food that was distributed as a result of that. Okay, it's Ottawa County. But you can see the impact. If we go to a smaller county in Mason, they started their food club operations in the 2018-2019 timeframe, and you can see the impact that that's had in that county. And so as I get to the end, you'll see that we're looking at Berrien County. We believe, in particular Benner Harbor, we could have some similar results, and we have some estimates on what we think that would do. To talk a little bit more about the values of the food club, these are a set of values, and I'll describe more what it is, but it's important to get the values of community, that's relationship building in terms of those that are involved in utilizing the food club, as well as the environment. Dignity is a really important part of what we're doing. As you will see, it's a grocery store approach where there's choice and decisions. It's people getting to choose what food they want, what they need. Dignity is a very important part. Consumer participation. We have a buy-in. There's a small member fee, and that's been kind of like, well, what's up with that? But we really found that has created a sense of pride with the folks that are members of the food club. It's their food club, and it's their member, and there's pride that when, as an example, I volunteered. In fact, by the way, in the back we have AJ Faso, who is the executive director of the Community Food Club in Grand Rapids, here with us tonight. But she had me volunteering at the renewal desk, and I thought, whoa, what are they going to come to renew their member fee? And I was very impressed that everybody who came was proud. They said, I'm a member, here's fee. So it was a very source of pride and being member centers. Health, as you'll see in a bit, how we have structured typical pricing. Pricing is in points for food, and so healthy food is much lower price per point than packaged food or things, and we'll show you that in a minute. Collaboration between members, donors, and others. Evaluation, we'll talk a bit about that at the end, about everything. We want outcomes. What is the impact that we're making? And so part of the food club model is to take surveys every 6 months of members and ask them questions of how is your eating, how many meals have you skipped, many times have you eaten fruits or vegetables. And so we track that to have actual outcomes, and then equity, we want an inclusive, diverse, just organization that really works to reduce and eliminate disparities. So that is the values. The model, as I said, is a membership base. There's a nominal fee that I mentioned is very important, and part of that pride of ownership. Members have points based on their household size, so they shop with points. An example, household receives 60 points for a household of one, up to 170 points. Fruits and vegetables are the lowest priced points items, so if you want to get the most for your points, you get fruits and vegetables, so it really helps healthy eating. I'm also watching the clock here. So if you look at an example, so if you have a $13 fee, this is what you get at a grocery store on the left side of your screen. On the right would be what you would get at the food club as a single family of one. Quite a difference in terms of the amount of food. So there's a real economic value to that food as well. And if you look at it within the food club, okay, 12 points will give you crackers and chips. but 12 points will also get you a whole lot of produce and items. So it's really promoting produce, but there's the choice. You can choose what you want. And so we find that that's been very effective in terms of the impact. And to look at the impact, as I said, we survey members every 6 months, and they answer a few questions of how their eating habits are going. And as in general, 95% report increased consumption of fruit and vegetables, which you could see why. Food access, 74% have increased or maintained their access to food. 28% said they have improved financial security because of the value of the food that they're getting through the food club. In the food club in Grand Rapids, gives you an example, over 11,000 shoppers in the last year. Over 1.2 million pounds of food was distributed, worth over $2 million. So that's kind of a bit of the impact. If we look at what the food club could do in Berrien County, and particularly in Benton Harbor would be the focus for that, is this is our team's estimated increase that we could expect, and this is very conservative. So we're saying a food club could generate 300,000 to 400,000 pounds more food in the community than what we're currently doing, and I would say that is very conservative. And Joseph and his team have worked the numbers on that to where that is. We took the worst case approach, and so even with that, we would expect to see a really dramatic improvement in our ability to meet the needs in this community, which would then, by nature, that chart I showed you, if you look at the Berrien County now, it matches in terms of how the food is distributed to other counties that we're relating to, with about half going to mobiles and half going to food pantries. So to kind of wrap up here, and I know I've gone through it quick because I want to maintain my 15-minute time allotment. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. We believe the food club is one model that could, in conjunction with the other good work that's going on in Benton Harbor, could really improve the ability for our folks to access safe and healthy food. We think the time is right. We approached this some years ago. It was a different time. I don't think the time was right, and I think we've learned a lot since then. So I believe today is a different time, and I think a lot of that is congratulations to you as the commissioners that have really helped, I think, make things happen and have a time structured today that would be an opportunity for us. In terms of structure, just again to promote the member base, I know the food club in Grand Rapids in their bylaws actually have a third of the board members have to be members of the food club. So the food club members are part of the governance of the organization. So it is really a community-owned and governed organization. Our role in Feeding America is to be a support. We want to help. It's not our thing. It's got to be something the community wants to do, and we're happy to help with the community to make that happen. That's why we brought Ms. Haynes and Ms. Anne Marie is here. So they're part of that partnership. We want to be a part of that, but we're here to help. But it has to be something community here wants to do and is willing to organize and lead, and we'll do what we can to help with that. So that is my presentation, and I have 45 seconds.
And I will note that I'm the one that's been working with Ashley Hines, and so please overlook the naming convention.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Are we allowed to?
We have a long agenda if you want to ask. Anybody from the commission have a comment or a question real quickly?
Oh,
Go ahead, Commissioner.
thank you, Honorable Pro Tem. I guess my question would be, is this something that Ms. Hines would be overseeing? Because she seems to have a knack for the younger generation drawing towards her. And with with that being said, I mean, I think that we're going in the right direction because someone like her should take charge of it at teaching them how to eat healthier, because this thing is larger than any one of us, mainly me. And seriously, I endured something earlier this year where the doctors told me that a lot of our problems in our communities are the things that we're eating, and they need to be eating healthier, and a lot of younger people are into that. And I just want to end by saying that I hope with the ears that can hear, that I'm hoping that we can start teaching our children within our school system how to actually grow hydroponically as well, because we have wars going on. We have homes that have been torn down with lead within the soil. So with that, I just want to thank you all.
Thank you, Chair. Just a quick idea, you was talking about trying to get more exposure for the aging pantry. Just a quick idea, aging mobile truck, where that truck is picking up just from the aging gardens. Just an idea. Thank you. Welcome.
You have cards available? You guys have, could you leave them with the clerk? At least 8 of them or 9 of them. Do appreciate it. Thank you. We do, from the city of Benton Harbor, want to welcome or introduce Benton Harbor Area School Superintendent we first will introduce the school board president. Come forth, please.
Always get one.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I would first like to begin by saying thank you for giving us an opportunity to speak to you on your full agenda this evening. I am Deshauna Robinson, current president of the Board of Education for Benton Harbor Area Schools. I know that you all are familiar with Dr. Kelvin Butts because he has served as our interim since July 1st of 2022. If you've been following the news, you are familiar with the fact that we finalized his contract for 2 years as our permanent superintendent. And so it is worth a clap. It was a lengthy process, but we were attempting to be intentional in creating a contract that not only benefited him financially, but had goals directly embedded inside of the contract that were connected to incentives. So individuals may have been wondering what was taking so long, but we wanted to ensure the contract was to his best benefit as well as Benton Harbor Area Schools. And so now that he is our official superintendent, we are doing a stakeholder tour to formally introduce him to every municipality. We began with St. Joseph Charter Township this afternoon at the lunch hour, and so we wanted to begin with the city of Benton Harbor as well today. And so I am simply here to formally introduce him on behalf of Benton Harbor Area Schools, and then I will defer the mic to him.
Thank you, Madam President, and thank you to the city of Benton Harbor for having me here tonight. I want to say that I do understand and embrace the excitement and challenges that lie ahead for the 23-24 school year. As superintendent, my sole purpose is to promote student-centered learning and academic achievement. I am committed to preparing our students for the complex world of tomorrow and continuing to make Benton Harbor Area Schools one of the best districts in this state. One thing I will need, though, is your help to accomplish this goal. We all know that parents are an integral part of our school community as well as our community leaders, such as yourselves. We recognize that parents and our community leaders are the first teachers of our students. With this strong partnership, the parents and our community leaders benefit all of our students and our school community. Together, we can build a strong educational foundation for every student. As far as the students, I am asking each student to commit to having pride, personal responsibility in daily efforts by being active participants in their learning and acting as responsible individuals within our learning committee. Doing so will enable all to have a successful and enjoyable school year. My mission and vision is the same that the Benton Harbor area schools had developed before I came aboard, which is being the best in academics, art, and athletics. I will add one more, facilities. I do know that the boiler issue the boiler concern has been the top of many conversations within the district. I can tell you we have RFP'd and we have an A&E firm that we are currently working with. The projected time limit to have those installed in the high school and Fairplain East Elementary School is June 2024. In the interim, the high school and the elementary school are both warm. This morning we had some district-provided professional development, and it's very warm in the building for some of you that were there this morning. I want to assure you that we have a backup plan in place in case those fail during the wintertime. We already have those secured. As part of our strategy moving forward, we are moving forward with a master's facilities plan. In the past, there have been needs assessment done for the district. I think we're beyond what we need. It's now time to chart a path on moving forward, and we will be voting on that. I will be bringing that to the board so that the board can vote on that very soon. With that being said, I want to thank you for having me here tonight, and I'm here to answer any questions that you may have.
First, we want to say thank you and welcome. City of Benton Harbor, and we hope for great success. We're not enemies, we're partners. And a lot of times when we have, you're going to have the naysayers everywhere. They're going to say you ain't did nothing, they ain't doing nothing. Even though you said you're getting the boilers fixed, they're going to say you're not doing it. But I want to commend you for what I've heard so far and what I've seen so far. Because talk is cheap. But I've watched you, and I've watched your interaction with the board and with the students and with the parents. It's been impeccable. So I've seen, and so I've heard. And to get that board to agree to give you a contract, that's a battle in itself. But you're a winner. And any Commissioner Adams.
Honorable Adams would be fine.
Honorable Commissioner Adams.
Thank you, Honorable Chairman. I just have one question, and it has been every bit of probably, since 08, 09, for the school to work closer in harmony with decision-making with the city. They go hand in hand together. And it's an ingredient that's been missing. And it's just a suggestion. I can't make or run anything.
No, if I may respond.
But I think that we can achieve so much more for the children, the parents, and everybody overall, a better educational system in the city of Benton Harbor.
Thank you so much, and I do invite all of you for one-on-ones. So what I'm currently doing is going through the school system. I have a schedule right now. I've been through 2 buildings, and I will get through all of the buildings to listen to all of the teachers. Next, I will be meeting with groups of students so that I can get their input. And I invite all of you for a one-on-one for what we need, because we can only do better together. I can't do this alone.
My brother's keeper.
Let's make sure nobody else has any questions. No, I'm just joking.
I would like to say thank you for your express support of Dr. Butts. I agree 100%. I've been a supporter of Dr. Butts from the start. One of the things that's very important is that it's evident that he's invested into the well-being of the district and the community, because you all, as you're aware, allowed him to purchase a home here. So I think that speaks volumes in his intentionalness in wanting to be a resident in Benton Harbor. Another thing that I would like to comment on is the fact that Dr. Butts is the type of person that does not need accolades or attention. He's not the first to get in front of the media. He's all about getting the job done. He'll roll his sleeves up and get in there, regardless of whether it's his job description or not. And that's something that means more to me than I can ever verbalize. So I am confident in the superintendent that we've selected. And I would also like to point out the fact that we just received debt forgiveness which is worthy of celebration. So I was hoping to have more of our board here. I know that they're more than likely listening online because most of them are very connected with what you all have going on. But I thank each of you for your efforts in supporting us in that battle, as well as all of the community organizers that worked on our behalf. And that's all I have, Chair. Thank you.
That was a lot. Thank you.
Again, that's a monumental achievement to have that debt forgiveness. And you guys were in office when it happened, so you're responsible. You know, because people say they made it happen and they was on corner Pavone when it. All right, so any more questions, any more? Honorable Commissioner at Large, Ron Singleton.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Just quick accolades. I know you don't like them. I'm kind of I'm the type of guy, myself, I just like to get the job done. But I've watched Dr. Butts, quietly and back, and I know he must have a love for this community, and that's one of the main things that you have to have. And the reason I say you do have a love here, because he, purchased a house not knowing if the contract was going to get done or not, And so that was his, that showed me that he was committed to this community. And I'm so glad that the board was able to work things out. And like you, the president say, it's a good deal for everybody. So looking forward to the great work that I think you're going to do, Dr. Butts.
Just like to say to both, congratulations on a fresh start with the debt forgiveness. And thank you, Dr. Butts, for your patience. And to the president, just relate to the board, thank them for their collaboration to get it done. Congratulations, thank you.
Is there I don't see Joey Andrews anywhere, the state rep. Is anybody here representing him? Nobody's representing him from his office? I think we should remove that off the agenda for now on until he sends somebody, he shows up. All right, this,
Honorable Chair, can we acknowledge the part that our state representative played in fighting for us on the floor amongst his colleagues and
Commissioner
on the state level for this debt forgiveness?
Commissioner Adams, it would be better if he was here to do that, then we can tell him to his face. I mean, we don't need to,
Just to give an acknowledgement, and we've done that already. Thank you,
I
sir.
think we've done that. All right, at this time, we'll have our citizen comments. If you want to talk, if you want to speak, this thing is ringing. If you want to talk or speak, please sign up here. Know that tonight is not, we're not doing no political games or endorsements, or it cannot be done from this arena. You want to do that, please grab your camera and go outside and do it in front. But tonight, if you are asked to stop, this is not, we deemed this 8 years ago that none of us as council people and nobody else can utilize this time for electoral votes or to try to gain electoral, that's the truth. That's part of our code of ethics.
We on public comments?
In March, talking about his council.
All right, well,
On with that.
well, I'm gonna tell you another thing. I'm not Mayor Muhammad. I'm gonna rule you out of order, and you're gonna be up out of here.
Honorable Co-Chair.
So we're gonna.
Can we,
Do we have anybody signed up on that list there? And make sure you sign your name, and when you get up there, state your name.
Lord have mercy. See?
Can we have order? The residents about to speak.
Julia Turner.
Hello.
Good evening.
I have an issue with my home. They've been working on my road, but my house is flooded 4 different times, and literally feces have been floating in my basement. And I've had to pay out money every single time. And I'd like someone to come in my house and put whatever that stopper is in so it doesn't happen. And it's not my fault that I got the lowest drain on the block. And I've been told so by the plumbers, the ones with the license.
Yes, ma'am.
I won't call their names, but I've had to have several different ones come out to my house, and each one said, it's not my problem, it's the city's problem. And I'd like the city to take care of their problem.
Thank you, Mrs. Turner. If you would do me a favor and write down your address and your phone number and give it to the clerk and Antoine, she's gonna give it to the city manager, and we'll make sure you have an answer this week. It's not on the Columbus, is it, or?
Vineyard, where all the
Vineyard,
homes are.
okay.
Everybody has to slow down and wave at me before they pass, because there's that many holes in front of my house.
All right. Okay. Can you give her your address and phone number?
Definitely, we'll be glad to.
Thank you so much.
Oh, and I know what you said, but we all are supposed to get along, and I want to know if each and every one of you guys that's running for office is on 24-hour watch, where every time you take a poop, somebody's watching you. That's not proper if it's not happening to each and every one of you. Have a good day, y'all.
Thank you.
Emma Kennard.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I'm glad to hear that presentation on the food. I noticed my name wasn't mentioned at all, but it's okay, darling. I did work with you this year, did I? Yeah, but not in relation to. No, not in relation to this.
Let's put, whoa, point of order. We're just-
What I'm saying is, I want to get back to the part is that Ms. Eleanor Gavin's name was not mentioned, and we know for a fact that she went up in regards to the debt forgiveness. So I don't think I'm disputing or telling a lie or anything, because I was up there with that one of the times. And one of the things I want to say, that we've had a garden, and we got a lot of support from the USDA. It worked with us, and our food was totally organic. And we have worked with the community. Everything was given free. And I know that I was once assigned by the emergency manager to take the garden, Fresh Start Children's Garden, and start it up in the middle of the community, in which Seats was one of the gardens that I worked 2 years over there and tilled the garden and helped over there at your garden. Am I right? Okay, and Commissioner Adams, also yours. And Commissioner Adams, I thank you for even saying that we need a change in our leadership. That was yours?
No,
Mark?
no.
With him, us getting a plaque not to say anything, to be careful about what's going on. It seems like when we feel bullied, just to come up here, just to talk, we were not coming here to fight. But sometimes the things that you say at first cause us to react. And it's not fair to the community, because you know I've been a support in any way that anyone came and asked me. I've supported and worked with you. So I don't want to get a threat before I come in, you feel that I'm going to say something. I wouldn't say something ordinarily, but sometimes you're promoted to. But also, we have tested our soil. Everything is totally organic. The mayor's children and family has eaten from the garden, and many others. And we try to be fair. We don't charge anything for our food. And I'm glad to see more people involved in the food industry in getting fair, clean food for the families, because they're gonna need it. This world is changing fast. Food is one of the things we're gonna really necessarily need as well, so it's a healthy, effective education for our children. All of that is very necessary, and I'm glad to see these things are beginning to happen. And like I said, I feel pretty good that things is going to change eventually. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kennard.
Spencer Nesbit.
Good evening. My name is Spencer Nesbitt, and I'm just here. I've been coming to the commission meetings ever since the beginning of the year, and I've heard a lot of things about we need changes. I see changes, things that are happening now. With the changes that I see is cause improvement and cause growth, causing growth. And that's what we need right now. You know, it's just like when I was in school. I took an algebra class in college, and they had a problem, and they give you a problem with brackets and braces inside that problem. You have to go along and figure out the brackets and the braces before you get to the outside of the problem. And that's what I have seen here. When the manager left, the emergency manager left, the city was in a hole. I can look back and see things that has grown, things that have changed since then. We got streets. We got sewers and things being fixed, and it's going to continue to grow. And the growth that we're having, we just had the school board here. It's going to have increased the tax flow, and for the kids to come in and have more classes and things for our kids to go and come, when they come out of high school, they can go into college. That's one of the things that we are hurting from right now. A lot of them, I go to some of the other class schools, they have classes in school where they can already be a freshman, a sophomore or something in college with the classes that they have. So this is what we're doing. We're growing. And with the leadership that we have now, that's what I'm saying, I think that we are on the right track. So let's not get stagnated and do anything differently. Let's continue to do the things that we're doing right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nesbitt.
Marvin Haywood.
I am just pleased to be here this evening. I am just grateful. Truly, I am grateful for Joy Andrews, Eleanor Gavin, as well as Angela Doyle, who have truly fought. I remember when they came in wanting to shut the school down. We was able to get from 71 million to 114 million. And that was truly an accomplishment, because a lot of times you have to go around your elbow to get to your thumb to get what you want done in the government. And as we continue to move forward, one of the things that I do hope happen is that the city and the school district work together. I remember when we had the other superintendent, he came down here and he was told to stay in his lane. Hopefully we can put those lanes together where we can move forward in the direction. As I continue to move forward and go around my elbow to get to my thumbs, I see the change coming. And the change is necessary in order that we continue to move this city forward. You know, a lot of times the train gonna keep moving. You know, a lot of people get on and off the train, but the train gonna stay on the track. You know, and a lot of times, you know, we have to just do what is necessary. I remember when that young man came to me and the kid said, well, what is it that we need to do different? He said, what is it about the school system? I said, I remember when we was going, we had CTE classes. I remember when everybody used to come to the city of Benton Harbor to take auto mechanics. We had the skill in the tech center. Everybody used to come here to take these classes. Now, all of these classes is out of the city. We talk about our children, who are truly the foundation of this city. So as we move forward with that debt being forgiven and that little relief that we had, and we move forward into the 21st century, our kids are number one. And that is the number one priority, the children in this community, because that is the present as well as the future. So in order to move forward, we got to help these kids. You know, and I was grateful, you know, that's one of the fights that I have been on for a long time, these kids, because without the kids being involved, we cannot move the city forward. But as I say, I am just grateful because God has always been in the mix of things. It ain't never been about Marvin Haywood. It's never been about me. I've been one who has wanted change, but change that has not been fair has been the result that we've had for a long time. So as we begin to move forward, I can see things happening that is going to happen because it was already preordained to happen. You know, it's two things in the world. One is truth and the other is falsehood. You have to decide which one you're going to stand on. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Haywood.
Miguel Clark. James Duncan.
Hello.
Hello.
Change is coming. Citizens need to be on the docket telling you guys what the change is supposed to look like. I've said it before, that that's what we needed. We go on every week, we come up with a agenda that has nothing what's really asking what the citizens really want or need. I'm glad we got a school superintendent, and I'm hoping that we can partner, the city can partner with the school system, because there's a lot of land what's gonna go down the drain to you know who if we don't do something for ourselves. Now, my main concern was trying to get my street fixed. I have a street problem that I've talked with the city manager about, and I've talked with Albert Marsh about, and he says now that he's gonna come and take care of it. I mean, it's been like 4 or 5 months for the same noise I'm hearing, but I'm glad to hear him say it again. As far as the citizens are concerned, we see change when it happens, every time it happens. We don't need anybody to let us know that there's a change coming, because the change has been coming ever since Martin Luther King. He had a dream, and we've had a dream since then and afterwards. But if we don't do what we're supposed to do for the citizens, I won't have any respect for any of you guys. You can sit up and act like you're doing something, but when you're not, Mr. Duncan will tell you you're not. And I don't care if you're the mayor pro tem, or whoever else, if you're not doing what you're supposed to do up there, and I'm sitting here watching you, I'm not gonna hold my tongue and let you just run over citizens, because you tried to run over me. And I'm talking about on the upper end of the echelon. So you watch what you say to citizens. You be respectful to us if you want some respect. Don't play games with us. Don't reprimand us like you reprimanding your wife or something at home. Because most citizens, male citizens, black male citizens, don't play that stuff. I'm pointing at you just to keep from pointing at anybody else. Thank you for taking it, though, brothers. Thank you.
Rod Jennings.
I have to come behind Mr. Duncan.
Thank you, Mr. Duncan.
Incredible community advocate. Thank God for the president, board president, Dr. Butt. Blessings on y'all. I'm looking forward. I'm very optimistic, realistic and optimistic about working with y'all. And making this a world-class community. Okay, all right. Mayor Pro Tem, he don't buy that. He don't buy all that. Just come on with it. I appreciate you. Board, citizens especially, all of us are citizens. I'm gonna make it quick. 3 minutes is quick. All right, I got my bullet points. So far, I've been doing a lot of work. I've been working a lot, so I ain't been here a lot. Thank God, our football team that I had the blessed privilege to coach, made the playoffs, first time in about 6 or 7 years. And so I've had a grueling schedule. But those are some amazing young men God's blessed me to work with. And, you know, I won't realize it really realize it until 10 years later when they walk up to me and tell me, Coach, you helped to change my life. Like I've been told several times, and that's what it's about. All y'all in here that work with young people know the power of that. Anyway, I see smiling faces, I see frowning faces. There's gonna be haters, there's always gonna be haters, and there's always gonna be all kind of folk. Every progressive city, the most progressive cities in the country are the ones where you got a lot of folk that disagree and you got a lot of folks that agree. But but the most progressive small cities, that's my goal for Ben Harbor. The most progressive small cities are the ones where folks ain't disagreeing just to be disagreeable. They know how to disagree big time behind closed doors, but come out here and have it tight and come to some consensus. Ain't nobody gonna ain't no perfect person, ain't no perfect family, no perfect city government. We going through, we see what's going on in the world. It's a lot of chaos in the world, a lot of chaos in the country. I'm not about Democrat and Republican. Ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm an independent. I'm a true independent. The fact of the matter is that some folk, you know, it don't take a rocket science at the end of the day of who's actually about the business and who ain't. You got some folk that are just gonna be mean and just it's gonna stop progress. But you got some folk that are passionate mean that really are truly got the city business at heart and truly gonna do what's best for the citizens. Give me 10 seconds to say I applaud all of the candidates. I'm looking for y'all made it real hard for us because we got all great candidates. Everybody that's vying for these seats are viable candidates whom I love and respect each one of them. And I'm looking forward to working with each one of y'all.
Thank you, Reverend Rod Jennings.
No more comments.
No more comments. We're going to the consent calendar items. Is there anything that needed to be separated?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Adams.
Thank you, Honorable Co-Chair, Mayor Pro Tem seats. The first item, approval of support of the Berrien County Master Trails.
That being it? Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Henry.
Number 2.
Number 2.
Approval of the City of Benton Harbor purchase of Cornerstone Alliance Incorporated share.
Commissioner Griffin.
Clark Griffin. The last
Commissioner
one.
Clark Griffin.
Last one, approval of, well, just sum it up, the last one for interconnect chemical feed improvement resolution.
The last one, which is the resolution approving the complete design, engineering, and bidding services. Call the roll. Oh, I'm sorry, do a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Been motioned by Commissioner Singleton, been supported by Commissioner Adams. Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Henry?
Yes.
Commissioner Isom?
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton?
Yes.
Commissioner Adams?
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Griffin?
Yes.
Commissioner Edwards?
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Seats?
Yes.
Motion carried.
First item that was separated is approval of support for the Berrien County Master Trails. Need a motion
Motion to approve.
Been motioned by Commissioner Adams. Supported by Commissioner Henderson. Discussion. Commissioner Adams.
Thank you, Honorable Chair Pro Tem Seats. What is this? We had a resident that just asked a question, well, not so much as a question, but just talked about and gave a scenario about, some communities you see, people should be able to go in a room and come out and agree on a thing, but that's not the way government works. Some things are just against the law. You can't just go in it, and sometimes we don't see things until they're right before us. It causes us to have to separate and bring about a discussion because something about this just don't look right. And it looks like we turning something over to, we're partnershiping with all of these communities. Where's their money within the pot? Our money, Ben Harbor's money, we've been waiting for a long time to work on our trails. And we are friendly people. We invite others to come in and walk, ride their bikes or whatever. But this right here seems like some takeover type of stuff that I'm reading before me. Not just take over, I take that back. Like we're turning over ownership of an asset that's just totally unagreeable with me, and I don't remember reading all of this or discussing all of this in nobody's committee. And I cannot and will not support it. Something needs to be rewrote.
Thank you. This was vetted. I'm sorry, Commissioner Edwards.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Chair. I can remember this first coming up as it was an invite to commissioners if they wanted to come in the initial, I'm not going to say initial scheme of it, but more of an idea of it. And then I do remember it coming to public safety, Parks and Rec. And also, I don't remember what committee after that, they did do a presentation on the whole trail, master trail, who was involved, where it would go. If I'm not mistaken, it was also a bullet point into the master plan. Details about those different vetted meetings, I can definitely remember being in attendance to 3 of them, including the one for public safety.
Honorable Chair.
Commissioner Adams has the
Let
floor.
me say this. I don't care where it was discussed. My thing is, we're talking about our master plan that the city of Ben Harbor has paid, what, almost $200,000 for a master plan. I've never known, since I've been coming down here for 22, 23 years, for the master plan to be broke up like you do one sidewalk at a time. The master plan is a master plan. Why is it being broken up, for one? And I stand by what I said about the city of Ben Harbor is committed to maintaining and enhancing, and we're the ones maintaining and doing the enhancing the quality of life as we are elected to do throughout the region, and recognizes that a network of trails in Berrien County will contribute greatly to the quality of life. Yes, but the Friends of Berrien, who are the Friends of Berrien? Why does this have to be a part of the master plan that's set aside from our master plan as a whole? I don't understand that. No.
It was discussed.
Can we hear from Mr. Little, Planning
Wait,
Economic
whoa,
Development
whoa, whoa,
Director?
whoa. We're not going. After Commissioner Henry, if you can speak to, could you, hold on, if you can speak to it, Mr. Little, after Commissioner Henry relinquishes the floor. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me go back in a little history. When they first started talking about the trails, it was a St. Joe and Benton Harbor issue.
Transportation.
Then it became a Barron County issue. And now it's a regional issue. And throughout all the conversation, I asked the question, why does Benton Harbor's trail start and stop and go nowhere? I'm talking years of the same question. So when I got to the right people and they said, well, we see that and we're going to change that. Well, from my perspective, Ox Creek is the change. Ox Creek's gonna get a beautiful way of transportation, non-motorized. So, Ox Creek is all in our master plan.
Yeah.
And it's not even approved yet, but it's in our master plan. So, this last meeting, we talked about this, and we asked if we could get confirmation that the trails are connecting to Benton Harbor now. And so that's what I'm gonna ask through the chair and Mr. Little for that information. Thank you.
Mr. Little, can you just speak to that, the two questions that were presented, please?
Certainly, sir. For one point of clarification, there's no property being exchanged as a part of this. Nobody's plan is being negatively impacted as a result of this. As the city has its master plan, the county has its own master plan, which they approached us and talked to us about it when they were first starting it. The Trails Master Plan is a separate document that is being worked on by another group. And at a point in time when I became aware of it, I began to communicate with them about just the concerns that you raised about our trails being incorporated into it, being a part of it and connecting. What is happening is federal and state government are beginning to require that there be a system of planning for the things that we pursue grants for. And that's happening with not only the city and county, but things like the trails, the waterways, and so forth. We're going through the same type of thing in terms of having to put together a 5-year recreation plan, because in order to pursue funding, you've got to have one. So that's what's transpiring here. This is simply indicating support for the trails, county trails master plan, which does include our planning on it, not just Ox Creek, but also for other trails that we will eventually have as a part of bike paths on the streets and things of that nature.
Thank you. Commissioner Adams.
So, we keep talking about the quality of life. I still don't understand, even with that explanation, as to why this is separated and set aside from the master plan as a whole. Now, we have had discussions, and it's a plan to build homes down along there. And can we get an amount of how much these homes will cost? Because I'm pretty sure, just like Gene Clark Park, there's one portion of it that's private. You can't even drive up through there, okay? And I don't want to see something like that happen to the citizens of Benton Harbor, because we waited a long time to be able to do something to what we know to be a jewel. It started when we lost our tech center. I mean, it took away some very valuable training and education that was available to the residents. But I guess when we lose pupils, we lose funding as well, and a thing can't be upkept. But you go all over the country and you can see what other communities and municipalities and stuff are doing with old buildings. Our arts district is a perfect example. I just have a problem with this because I remember out during a time in times past when I was campaigning, I noticed that the city of Benton Harbor has lost residents along the way and it's kind of crazy how you can go on Union, and this part I didn't know was Benton Harbor. And I didn't know that if your mailbox is sitting out on the street, that's the township or St. Joe's property. And it's almost like someone has taken a dip out of the landscape of Benton Harbor around the whole city. It's dips and dabs, and I can see how, just like we own the property of Kojic. And that's the township. But that's another giraffe there. But the landscape of Benton Harbor itself.
Commissioner.
I just don't see this and why it has to be separated from the whole master plan as a whole. I don't see that, and I will not, and I can't support it. I will support our master plan though. When it comes before us.
May I?
Let me just make one statement. There are different master plans for different communities. The county has its own master plan. We have our own master plan.
I'm aware of that.
So it's not all part of that.
I'm aware of that, City Manager Mitchell, and no disrespect. This isn't.
Director Little has the floor.
I simply wanted to comment that, as Manager Mitchell said, they are two entirely different things, related only by the fact that the county plan takes into consideration and acknowledges the existence in our master plan of our trail system, and so that when the time comes that we're pursuing funding for it and so forth, we can say it's in both our master plan and the county's trails plan.
Pro Tem, Honorable Pro Tem, I'm very aware that the county has their own plan and we have ours. And that's what we need to be approving, not a small portion of it, but the whole plan as a whole.
Call for question.
Question has
I'm
been.
in the middle of a discussion.
Question has been called.
We debate.
Did not get to speak.
We in discussion, and she had her hand up.
Commissioner Henry?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I don't think I got my question answered about the connectivity of Benton Harbor's trails and the Barron County trails and St. Joe trails. I never got an answer on that. There is no connectivity. If you look at the map, they don't connect. And that's a problem with Benton Harbor, me, and Barron County. So now, we asked for proof that our trails connect, and I'm waiting on that proof that our trails do connect somewhere. If not, I'll go on my own understanding that I walk and rode the trails myself, and I know they stop and they go nowhere. So I need the proof for me to go along with the Barron County Trails plan, master plan, is to see that they did take in consideration our wishes to connect. That's all I need.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Question to the clerk, real quickly. What happens when the question is called? When somebody calls for the question?
When somebody is talking.
No, well, when they call
I was talking.
for the question,
The discretion of the chair.
what happens? 'Cause I think he said somebody had not spoke.
Yeah, and I was wrong, and I apologize. She did.
Okay, I just wanted to know how that goes, because I didn't want to be off base on that. The question has been called.
No.
She said it was at your
Question
discretion.
has been asked that I didn't get an answer to.
May I answer? I acknowledge that you're correct that the trails don't connect at this point in time. The Trails Commission that were doing the master plan for the trails can't really make the decisions for us as to where they'll connect, but what they did do is incorporate in the plan that it is our intent to have these trails connect. We expect to connect to the trails that are part of the system that goes through Harbor Shores and through them to all the others as we develop these trails. In the past, we just haven't had that many bike trails and walk trails and so forth.
I get that.
I beg to bargain with you that that's not true. They destroyed a lot of our walking trails and our bike trails over the years. So I've been here, I watched them do it. And that's why I'm upset, because for 5 to 8 years, nobody's connected us to our trails. So, I still don't have any proof. You can say that the Barron County is going to do something, but they have done a lot to us in the past. So, I'm not likely going to vote on this because I didn't get any proof that they have genuine concern for Benton Harbor's trails.
Can I interject something real quick? This is not something where somebody is taking your trails.
What's the urgency?
This is something where they're just showing forth that we agree with where the trails are, what the trails are going to be used for.
Who saw?
What's the urgency? I make a motion that we table it.
I second it.
The question was already called for. Now, we can call it to a vote.
Can we get a question?
The question had been called for.
What's the urgency?
But the question, by Robert's Rules of Order, the question has been called. Now you can't supersede one with the other. The question has been called by Commissioner Edwards, which I recognized. Now we're talking about we're gonna call for another to motion to table it. The question has been called. Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Isom?
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton?
Yes.
Commissioner Adams?
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Griffin?
No.
Commissioner Edwards?
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson?
Just for clarity, we're voting on the resolution to approve the support of the master trails, just for clarity, yes.
Commissioner Henry?
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Seats?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. That brings us to the next separated item, which one is that, Honorable Clerk?
The second item.
Second item, which is approval of the City of Benton Harbor's purchase of Cornerstone Alliance Incorporated share of Hope 6, Phase 2.
Make a motion.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Edwards, has been supported by Honorable Commissioner Adams. Any discussion? Commissioner Adams.
I just want to know, are we going to work on some type of way of offering the residents, those that want to move out of a housing complex, possibly into a home that sits alone and gain some type of ownership of a home in I'm just hoping that there's something that we can look at in the future while we take over partial ownership of these properties.
I totally agree. Commissioner Henry.
I would like the Honorable Mr. Little to explain this to us, and in case no one saw it on YouTube when we discussed it. So if we can just get a kind of briefing of what this is all about from him. Thank you.
All due respect, that's why we have the meat and potato night, the kick the can down the road night. I don't want him to do a full-fledged presentation on that, and we have a full agenda full consent. If you can.
Well, let me ask some questions, and that'll solve your problem. Okay,
If you can-
I'll ask the question.
Commissioner, can you do me a favor?
Did you
We're gonna-
do
we're
me
gonna-
a favor
we're gonna-
when you
we-
interrupted me?
I did not interrupt you, Commissioner.
You interrupted me
I
now.
did not interrupt you, Commissioner. I'm asking Director Little to give us a brief synopsis or overview of what is before us. Can you do that, please, sir?
Certainly, sir.
Thank you.
Basically, what's before us is the opportunity for the city to take possession of the 0.4% ownership that Cornerstone has in Hope 6 Phase 2. This is a project that was put together with a very complex financial deal in which a limited partner owned 99.99% of the deal, and that limited partner, Senair, was primarily in it for the tax credits. The tax credits have now expired. They have turned over their part of the ownership to the Benton Harbor Housing Commission. The remaining 0.8% is split between half owned by Cornerstone that they are selling to us for $1. And the other half still remains with Rhonda and Sam Thomas, who actually administer that project and that deal and still have administrative control of it.
Commissioner Clark Griffin.
Okay, I read that, yeah, they're selling it to us for $1. We're gonna maintain maintenance and everything else, yet the Thomas is still gonna have administrative control. Can somebody explain that to me?
This point of clarity, we will not be doing any kind of maintenance. They have their own maintenance staff there that's going to stay in place with Hope 6 development that's already there. Only thing we're doing is assuming the portion that Cornerstone owned. That's it. We don't have to do any maintenance to the property. It's just a share.
That's not what the resolution said that I
All right.
read.
Commissioner, I'm sorry, Director Little, can you explain, will we be working on the property or doing anything as far as evictions and all that kind of stuff?
No, sir, none of that. We won't be responsible for maintenance, for paying for anything, or directing anything. That all is the responsibility and under the control of Sam and Rhonda Thomas.
Okay. By purchasing Cornerstone share, the city of Benton Harbor will be in a better position, however limited at this stage, to influence the care, maintenance, and operation of these 70 housing units. The actual operation and decision-making remains with Sam and Rhonda Thomas. It says the city of Benton Harbor will be in a better, however limited at this stage, to influence the care, maintenance, and operation of these 70 housing units.
I think you just read that. So it'll still be in the hands of Sam and Rhonda Thomas.
Okay, I guess I'm the only one interpreting it right. So, okay.
Could you explain what you just?
Yes, essentially what the resolution is simply saying is by having that part ownership role, I would expect that we should be able to have more influence with them in terms of seeing that a level of better level of maintenance and so forth goes on there for the people that live there.
Thank you. Commissioner Henry.
Okay, if it says that Benton Harbor has no expense, there's no cost to the city, but it also says that there's a possibility that we could gain some monetary benefit from it, like Cornerstone did over the years. Can Mr. Little explain that to us? And and explain to us where that money is gathered from.
Yes, as a part owner, even though small, Cornerstone has, and they sent us, and I just sent out to you all, a listing of what they have received over the years as a payment for their part ownership. With us stepping into their stead, if the money is collected and is distributed, we would receive that. And that has ranged from a high at one point, I think, of around 80,000, 77,000, down to, during the COVID period, nothing.
Where does that money come from, Mr. Little?
It comes from the rents that are collected from the people who live in the properties. It comes from Sam and Rhonda Thomas.
It's subsidized property, so it's being subsidized by government money?
Not at this point. It was subsidized in a sense by the tax credits that were made a part of it when it was originally done.
Okay, thank you very much.
Commissioner Adams.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, Co-Chair Speech. So out of that 80,000 that we may, generate, how much of that would we have to go into maintaining adequate liability insurance to protect ourselves? And if the tax credit has run out, does that mean that some of the low-income renters may be incurring a higher cost to themselves without help of the state? I mean,
No. That was a part of the original financing, and it was structured over the time period of the recovery that was involved, and that is all done now, and what's left is just the ownership of the property itself, and the process that Sam and Rhonda Thomas go through to maintain it, collect the rents, and do all of that.
okay, when you say maintain, and I know a lot of y'all in here probably ride by there, because I live down the street, and it's pathetically sad.
Yes, it is.
Pathetically sad, and something needs to be done. So if we have to take, well, we basically jumping ourselves in there to take some portion of responsibility of cleaning it up. And we're talking about somebody that's probably close to 100 years old when Mr. Thomas came through here the last time about to do or wanting to do another project. But now we're taking over, along with Cornerstone, this property.
At this point, just that 0.4%.
Well, we
that
definitely
Cornerstone
don't need
owns.
any more homeless people, that's for sure. So if we have a part to play, then let us do exactly that. Because if we can make just this one move to improve somebody's quality of life, then so be it.
Thank you.
We call for the question.
Question has been called.
Commissioner Singleton?
Yes.
Commissioner Adams?
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Griffin?
Yes.
Commissioner Edwards?
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson?
Yes.
Commissioner Henry?
Yes.
Commissioner Isom?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Seats?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Next item that was separated is the
The last item.
resolution approving,
Motion to approve. Chemical feed improvements,
yep,
Service Interconnect.
service for interconnect. It has been motioned by
Me. Commissioner Adams.
Commissioner Adams, supported by
Support.
Commissioner Singleton. Will there be discussion? Commissioner Clark Griffin.
All right, this is the part about, if I read it right, St. Joe providing water for us temporarily. Now, when we voted the alternative 3, it was supposed to solve our issue where we don't outsource, that I don't care temporary or permanent or whatever, that we were supposed to maintain our water. And at that time, when it was discussed, Benton Township or St. Joe did not want to sell us any water. So now we voting on, buying water from them. So, can anybody explain that and what changed and why? Can I, through the chair, Mr. Little, who made this, who's doing this?
The city manager,
Okay, Mr.
thank you
City
for it.
I'm going to ask Jason to come up. I asked him to be here so he could explain this thoroughly.
Everybody, Jason Marco with Adam Marson. We have Mike Vanderploeg with F&V Engineering here as well. Commissioner Clark Griffin, the actual alternative analysis that you guys voted on was to look at the long-term operation of the water plant. And yes, you're right. You guys voted to keep and maintain everything at your guys' water plant. This project that is being proposed now is to actually clean and improve the actual finished water reservoir on the actual Benton Harbor water plant's property. So to do so, the water for the finished reservoir that supplies all the residents with the finished water, the clean water coming out of the plant, has to be drained so that the inspection and the repairs can be completed. At that time, the water plant will not be able to keep up the demand for the city of Benton Harbor providing the water during that project. Not long-term, not just for that project specifically, to repair the reservoir and to do the final inspection. Eagle had recommended that the city do that inspection at the beginning of this year. They actually did it when the finished reservoir was in place, and they found some things that needed to be corrected. But to do so, to pour concrete and to fix rebar and to fix the hatches, there can't be any water in the reservoir. So this resolution sets up F&V Engineering to do a project near the St. Joseph Interconnect so that the interconnect between the two communities can be utilized to provide water to the residents while that project is occurring. Once the project's done, the interconnect gets closed back up, and you guys do not have to use it unless you have a future maintenance need in the system. If there's a water main break, that could possibly be, or same thing, you could supply St. Joseph if they had a timely need. But that interconnect is there for maintenance activities such as this.
Okay, and I seen something about winter 2025.
Yes.
What was that? Is that when it's supposed to happen?
So there's a lot of planning that needs to happen on this project, and St. Joseph is actually doing some plant improvements to their plant this upcoming spring, where they're gonna be out of capacity in their system. So by the time we thought scheduling this in advance, getting the design work, getting the improvements done to the interconnect, and then getting set up for a reservoir project at the water plant, probably will take a good year and a half. And that will allow St. Joseph to do the work on their plant, so we aren't doing it while they're doing active work as well. So they'll be out of capacity on their end. So we kind of planned it. So once they're done with their work, then you guys would come in and possibly do yours.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Adams.
Thank you. And thank you, Jason, for explaining it to where I can finally understand it, because when that couple of years ago, when our water reserve lost all of its water, we didn't have that interconnect. When we went without water, St. Joe couldn't supply us emergency water, but we could supply them because there's an interconnect for that travel. I better understand it now. But what does this have to do with the feeding of the chemicals? I think Pro Tem Seats was touching on that, the fluoride.
The phosphate.
Yeah, phosphate, yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
So right now, the city provides a dosage into the city of Benton Harbor water system to add a phosphate to mitigate the lead particles that could be that could leach from the piping and get into the water supply. So that is an approved dose based on Eagle requirements, approved by them along with the water plant operators. And so Benton Harbor continues to use it. And you may ask, well, wait a minute, we've changed out the lead service lines, and why is that problem? Well, there's still galvanized, and there could be still galvanized and lead piping inside the homes. So still want to continue to utilize that dosage. St. Joseph does not put that in their system, all right? So to utilize the interconnect, and that was where Eagle was at during that water main break. If water was supplied from St. Joseph at that time, or now, without doing an addition to the interconnect, the water would be coming through Benton Harbor's water mains with no phosphate additive. So everything that you guys have been doing to add phosphate to your system and coat those pipes could be lost. So this project here allows the engineers to design the reservoir improvements at the plant, but also add basically a chemical injection point at that interconnect. So if you're pulling the water system offline, at the plant, you're still getting the same type of treated water coming through the interconnect into your system.
Okay, so the reservoir, is that right there outside of the water plant? Is that something that's going to be built right there?
It's already there, yeah.
Oh, okay, so that's the reservoir. Okay, one last question, and do we have any students out there, college students, high school students, that has an interest in, because we're supposed to be working with our school system to get and train someone, a Benton Harbor person, to learn how to run their own water filtration plant?
You know, that's a good point. If there's something that, Dr. Butts has where they have any type of student forum or anything of that nature, it'd be great for us to go talk with them and then even show them around some of the things based on your last comments.
Okay.
But we'll probably need to connect with them to see if there's anything like that.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
But I see that is a possibility.
Thank you. I mean, that was part of the discussion when yeah.
Commissioner Henry.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. In our meeting Wednesday, someone brought up Benton Township, and I thought that you might go and look at that and see what is available from Benton Township as far as a connection, the interconnection.
We did find the interconnect mapping. I believe the clerk sent you guys a little memo that we prepared last week. And what we have found is that we do have an agreement in place to utilize the water between St. Joseph and Benton Harbor, but we did not see an agreement between Benton Township and Benton Harbor, so that's something we need to evaluate. But the other thing is that Benton Township's water plant is a 3 million gallons per day plant. And right now, we know as part of the alternatives analysis and the options that Commissioner Clark Griffin had mentioned when when you voted on where to get your water from, their plant's currently running at about 77 to 78% of their maximum daily demand. So that was another reason that, we didn't clarify it or discuss it on last Wednesday, is that by connecting to their system for the city's demand, we don't feel that Benton Township will be able to produce enough water for both systems. St. Joseph's system is a 16 million gallon per day, and they use about half of that at their daily peaks. So they have some extra capacity. They supply water to the entire, Lincoln Township, St. Joseph Township, and everything else. So they have extra capacity. When we were talking on Wednesday, the sizes are a problem, and the capacity of Benton Township could be an issue by supplying you guys water day in and day out during that project.
What's our capacity?
So you're saying that the project could go from anywhere from 1 month to 6 months?
So it could. What we initially think that's gonna happen is we're gonna drain the reservoir down. We're gonna be able to get in and do a lot better inspection. Based on that inspection, if there are quick fixes, then could be a month. If there are long-term fixes, we might have to evaluate them further. We might have to turn the unhook the interconnect and maybe even plan for that again. But right now, from what the initial inspection had looked at, we were looking at about a month worth of repairs.
And my next question would be about the fees, the charges. We voted to increase our water and sewer for 5 years at 10%. St. Joe's water is a lot less per unit than ours, but they're charging us for exactly the amount that we would charge our people. Is that, I just have a problem with partnershiping and being friendly and cooperative, and then gouging or overcharging people. They have, I just think that that's just not fair, and it's really not human for them to charge us $4 and some cent instead of $2 and some cent. And we have to share maintaining the project and the connection. So if you, it's just seems wrong to me. So I'm through with that. And if it seems okay and we can't do any better, then I guess we'll take it without the Vaseline.
Ouch.
Yeah, the only thing I'd like to comment on that is I did see that from the 2015 agreement, and I think as we develop those conversations with St. Joseph, want to make sure that that number's accurate. And if they were thinking that's a short-term of interconnect use, or if you guys use it for a longer period of time, that's something that we would definitely be looking at. Because yeah, I was surprised on that, on how they got to that as part of their agreement. But I did notice that.
So
I haven't said anything, and I want to weigh in on this. And I want to be clear. I want to be precise. All right? You made a few comments that are almost insulting to me. Number one, you said that we're adding the same amount of chemicals to the water that we were when we had a lead crisis. And being that there's no lead crisis anymore, we're adding the same amount of chemicals to the water as if we had a problem. Part two, St. Joe came out publicly and said they had lead pipe issues and never have added any kind of phosphate or anything to their water to make it sound as if their water is much more cleaner or purer than ours. Because when it came time, that interconnect, another thing I'm going to tell you, that interconnect didn't just arrive. The interconnect's been there for a lot of years.
Yeah.
That interconnect was there when we had the water pipe main that broke at Harbor Shores, and we requested water. Our residents went without water because they refused to open up that interconnect. Why is it that we are yet, and if I can get it out, we'll work on it. Why is it that we're consistent in adding the same amount of chemicals, and it's okay now, and we're going to fix an interconnect to make sure that they're comfortable now when they have their problem that happens because they don't have the capacity, or when they go down, they don't have what they need to fix it.
Just give them everything else.
I have concerns, major concerns. Because if you're telling me that we're going around the United States of America, that's where the mayor's at right now, out of town, taking care of business for the city and the city residents, which he should be, and he'll be back. I got major concerns with you telling me that we got rid of all these lead pipes. We're still using the same amount of chemicals on these other pipes, and these other pipes are not even galvanized. Most of them, they put PEC in their houses, which is plastic. So you're putting that in plastic, and does that chemical is not going to stick to that plastic. That chemical is going directly into the resident. So why put PEC pipe and utilize phosphate when there's nothing that PEC and phosphate have to do with one another? But yet we're gonna sit here and say we should do it to Benton Harbor, and yet nobody has came and said anything different about the amount of chemicals being utilized for the city residents of Benton Harbor. No lead, but we still have phosphate. And phosphate is not something that God created for man just to be drinking. So what does phosphate and PEC pipe have to do with one another? Because if I got PEC at my house and you're pumping phosphate down that line, the phosphate is not going to stop until it gets to the end of where it has to go. So obviously what needs to be tested, what needs to come to this body is the amount of phosphate that's hitting the residents or the house, not lead now. I think we need to test to make sure that we're not giving people too much phosphate. Because if we rid ourselves of the lines, people are testing the water at the house for lead. But what do the phosphate tests look like?
We do, as part of the water plant operations, the distribution system is tested for phosphate levels to make sure that those are within compliance. So it's tested around the distribution system to make sure there's enough to be effective to mitigate the lead potential in the pipes, but also that, it's not too much that, could be potentially harmful. So the phosphate product is NSF 60 approved, which is, it's safe for human consumption at the levels it's being fed. And so that is tested and followed through.
So are you testing it at the beginning or at the ending?
Different points in the distribution system.
So the difference between what was going on when we had the lead problem 2 years ago, how much phosphate were they using then?
That's a good question. I can look into it. I think there's a corrosion control study that was done.
How much chemicals are they using now than were they using 2 years ago?
It's about the same amount. It's the same dosage. Yeah.
So why would you use this? So all right, I'll break it down a little bit further now.
I think
All right, I got a fish tank, right, and I converted it to. I went from canister to the back filter, and I started changing some stuff up. Put a little stick in there because it keeps the water a little bit more pure if you had a stick in there and let it stay in there for 30 days, right? So I don't need as much chemicals I used to use to clarify the water because the water keeps itself clarified, right? So after 2 years of ridding ourselves of lead lines, how can you tell me that we still need the same amount of chemicals that we needed before the problem was fixed, after the problem was fixed?
When it was the chemicals that caused the corrosion.
The dosage rates approved by the state of Michigan. I think the next step would be ask the state of Michigan, when can we remove the phosphate from the water? Because it's not up to us, it's up to the state of Michigan and your water plant operators.
Yeah,
and it's approved already with a dosage rate. So I think I agree with what you're saying, Mayor Pro Tem, says we need to ask Eagle, is there any risk for any more corrosion without the lead lines there? Number two, how can we move to a spot where we're not adding phosphate to the system?
Exactly, because the reason I'm going to say this again is because the reason why St. Joe didn't open up that cross connect was because we were utilizing corrosion control. Is that true or false?
That's correct. Yep. Eagle would not allow it. They felt that
The state would not allow us to put our water into their water plant because they don't use the same chemicals, right? All right, so what needs to happen through the chair, through this body, Mr. Little or Mr. Mitchell needs to contact Eagle. And then Eagle needs to come present themselves because, I mean, and tell us where do we need to go from here. Because I don't want to be getting a cross-connect fix. Because what it almost is, it's like it's baby steps towards something else too.
We don't need a liability anymore.
So I would say, any other questions?
Yes, sir. Is there an urgency for this? Because if it isn't, I would make a motion that we table it.
There's slight urgency there because this project is set up for the ARP dollars that you guys received. And the ARP dollars have to be under contract, spent.
At a certain time, okay.
Your water, this is just the engineering study. The
Right.
reservoir improvements might cost $1 million.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's part of that ARP dollars.
So if part of the ARP, okay, and where are those funds? This part of the,
They're with the state of Michigan until you ask for reimbursement.
exactly, okay, so. And this project starts when? Upon approval of, yeah,
Planning would happen right now upon your guys' vote.
okay.
We would be targeting something.
Spring.
More like 2025.
Really?
Yeah, so it's gonna take.
Okay, it's a funding thing, though, so it'll already be taken care of and,
Contractor
okay. Just like a lot of other stuff that's going on, that it didn't happen overnight. All for the question, I guess, if.
I had a question.
I rescind.
My
Question
question,
has been,
I rescind.
we rescinded, okay. Commissioner Clark Griffin.
my question is, okay, you say there's an urgency, but it's not gonna take place till winter 2025 if we pass it. The AQUA funds don't have to be used till 2026. Okay, so,
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
So they have to be, we have to have the project bid, all the funds bid by fall of 2024. So we have to have all the money allocated by that time, and then there's 2 years to spend it.
and then if it's needed so bad, how can we wait 2 years before it's even done?
We'd like to have construction this summer/fall, so we're ready to take the reservoir offline in 2025, or 2025.
No.
Consider we can get it done.
Considering St. Joe.
Be a benefit to the community in case there is.
St. Joe can't do it.
It really ain't a benefit if they gonna charge us more than what they pay. And before they said no, just 3 months ago, now all of a sudden, yeah, we can get it from them, but then it's gonna be gouged to price.
Yeah, the pricing is something.
Yeah, and I
That's gotta
think
be
that's
looked at.
something needs to be talked about and worked out and a whole lot of other little things before we even vote on it. That's my opinion.
And just remember, this is for the engineering to get that to those next critical questions.
Okay.
That's all.
You guys will get the project back in front of you, the figure out the costs, if you want to move
Okay.
forward with interconnect.
Okay.
All,
Okay.
all that, but that's.
Just to start the process, okay. If I may, Honorable Mayor,
Commissioner Adams.
so
This resolution
we
is
have
no
a couple of years and we have a timeline that we're facing, and we have another meeting. So you have time through the chair to actually get in touch with the state and get that information back to us that we have requested, and possibly our next meeting, all systems can be a go? An approval of the resolution?
What are you asking, Commissioner
We
Adams?
table it. Support.
It's been motion to table by Commissioner at Large, Honorable Commissioner Adams. Been seconded by Commissioner Henry. Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Adams?
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Griffin?
Yes.
Commissioner Edwards?
No.
Commissioner Henderson?
Yes.
Commissioner Henry?
No.
Commissioner Isom?
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Seats?
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right. Thank you. Well, the city manager will be getting with you gentlemen. I think that's, thank you. That brings us to communications, staff communications. We will start with our Deputy Chief, Police, Public Safety Director, Assistant Director Clark.
No comment this evening. We'll be presenting some stuff at our committee meeting this Wednesday.
Thank you. And it was good to see you guys today.
Nothing additional at this time, sir.
Nothing additional. City Manager,
Have nothing to report.
nothing to report. Our beloved clerk who's doing an awesome job.
I do have something to report. As we all know, tomorrow's Election Day. Polls are open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Your precincts are located First Ward at the high school library, Second Ward at the public library, Third Ward at the high school, room 106, and Fourth Ward at the Virginia Community Edwards Center. Absentee ballots can still be collected through 8 p.m. tomorrow. You can utilize the drop box outside. If you have received an absentee ballot and you choose to vote in the polls, you can do so. We prefer you surrender your ballot. If you have not received it, you'll just have to fill out a paper in the polls and you could still vote. As of today at 5 o'clock, we have 71.35% returned for absentee ballots, so there are still 161 out there that have not been returned yet.
Thank you. Commissioner Henry.
I thank all the citizens and other people that sit here and watch this. When we ask the pertinent questions about money, and then we just push through, and then later on the citizens suffer for it, shame, shame on us. Okay, let me go to something a little more. Long time ago, and most of you, none of you were on the commission at that time. The commissioners passed a resolution asking for us that when we go to training and we go to conventions, that we bring a report back and talk to us and tell us all what we saw and if it was anything that we would implement. I'm asking us to start that again. Somewhere along the line, it disappeared. But I see that our travel is becoming somewhat plentiful now, and I would ask for each and every one of us, when we go out to training, don't make it be a resolution, just do it because it's the right thing to do. So when you go out there, please bring the information back and share it. Thank you.
Commissioner Clark Griffin.
Good evening, everybody. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out, and just remember tomorrow to get out and vote. Have a good night.
Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I would like to say this to those residents who might be on YouTube listening, or those of you that are sitting out there. Thank you for coming in. I'm quite sure a question was asked and I tried to answer it and whatever. So I'm quite sure at least one person wants to hear what my answer was going to be. The answer was about the trail. I can remember 2019. I went to a public hearing that was given by the county, and it was on the trails. And at that time, they was talking about the bike trails and walking trails along Napier. I also know about the county trails because I was going to a county commissioners meeting every Thursday morning. There's a witness right there. I was included in the conversation, and as a resident of Ben Harbor, not even a commissioner yet, they just wanted somebody in Ben Harbor with some type of input. Continue to 2020 when I was sworn in as a commissioner. They continued that conversation at the Barron County Commissioners meeting with other breakout sessions for those who wanted to be involved. Upon attending those meetings, I did become involved with them in setting up a countywide trails and Olympic type style atmosphere for the county, with Ben Harbor being included if the city of Ben Harbor wanted to. The trails, there are not any switcheroos. It ain't the card game, the shell game. It's you're next door to us. If we got a trail, and we can trail through all the surrounding cities. That's the purpose of it. If you don't have it, it still don't stop you from riding the bike from here to St. Joe. You still can ride it. So that was my answer to how do I know about those trails. And that's how I know. And I believe it was my job that the citizens elected me to do, and this board elected me to do as a park and representative, to find out what's going on in your parks. But if you want to answer about that, and somebody who is qualified and knowledgeable to give you that answer, and you don't want to hear that answer, don't mean that answer ain't true. Just mean you didn't want to hear it from that messenger. So I want to say, if I'm here and I know about these things, somebody missing some meetings. Because those questions that's being asked, I done seen some of these people in the very meetings that we vetted. Some of these questions being asked, I attempted to answer in public safety. It's documented. All you got to do is go back. I attempted to answer, but nobody wanted to hear them from me. So nobody knows if I know what I'm talking about or not, do you? Nope. You probably don't want to know if I know what I'm talking about either, do you? Nope. You want to know what I'm talking about? You can ask me that in the hall. I don't want to interrupt a meeting. I'm not that rude. But that's my fault. I got 27 seconds. So if you want to ask a question and you want a qualified answer, ask a qualified person, whether you like him or not. I don't like Orkin, but if you say I need him, I need him. Make sense to me? I mean, I got 4 seconds. I can just sit here for that, right? Thank you.
Orkins, the roaches.
Thank you very much.
Commissioner Isom.
Thank you, Honorable Pro Tem. I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. Thank you for all the citizen comments. Your comments was heard. I want to thank Mr. Duncan for staring right at me when he was talking. A great presentation by Feeding America, West Michigan. Healthy eating is very important in this community. You know, they put up fried chicken wing signs, and we just to go to running to the fried chicken, fried fish, you know, so, but, you know, throw some broccoli in there, some carrots, cauliflower, something like that. So I think it's very what we need to eat healthy, live long, you know. We know what's going through our system. It affects us, you know, especially in the black community. High blood pressure. That's why they built the dialysis system over there, you know. I just lost a sister just a couple weeks ago, you know. So this is, healthy eating is very important. I want to congratulate Superintendent Dr. Butts on his contract. We just want to expect great things from him in this venture on this goal to what he was saying to do. You know, we still need the skilled trades. You know, we need the young people in skilled trades. That's how I came up and to get the job that where I'm at now through the skilled trades. We had the tech center, the skills center. We need those kind of programs to give these kids children some passion to see what they want to do in the future, to lead them to a better job, take care of their family. And tonight we'll approve more upgrades to the water plant and the distribution system. Very important. The water's 99.9 clean to drink. You know, so we're gonna continue to work on our water distribution plant and the water plant itself. So don't forget to get out and vote tomorrow. Expect great things. Expect great things. Vote your conscience.
All right.
Campaign.
We'll.
Vote your conscience. I'm just saying.
All right.
That's all I said. Vote. Get out and vote. Get out and vote, everybody. That's what it's all about. You know, we all in this together. Everybody wants the betterment for Benton Harbor. Betterment. Expect great things. God bless you. God bless Benton Harbor, Mr. Duncan. There you go.
Commissioner Adams.
Thank you, Honorable Chairman Pro Tem Seats.
Thank you.
And I want to thank the residents for coming out, taking time out of your busy schedules, and those viewing from home to watch your local government in action or not, because sometimes it works for us and sometimes it just doesn't. That's why things don't happen overnight. Just like you heard for yourself, some decisions that will be made tonight that probably won't be seen until several years down the road. That's why it's so important to know the history of a thing, because these seats change. When I first came down here in 2000, before I got on a board, I started searching for the history to see why these people down here arguing and fighting like the residents say they are. And I thought that it was over money. It was, because there wasn't any. And what little there was, somebody was trying to make sure that it was done right by the residents. And I didn't understand that until I sat in this seat myself. My hands never touch a dime of my taxpayers' money. Now, if somebody bright enough to figure some other things out, I don't have time for all that. That's not why I was elected. I was elected to improve the quality of life. In 2002, I did just that. I became a Brownfield Authority board member. And guess what? I only ask questions that I need answers to that I don't know. But 2002, we put together a master plan of a $500 million development that connected the cities, okay? Bike trails and trains and all. I've sat at a whole lot of seats because I was very present. Present enough to see this thing gain wings and take off and start growing and building. Knowing that as I stood behind the chair doing hair at the same time, that one of the greatest factories that paid a nice, decent living, Bosch, was about to close. What are these people going to do? We need to do something to create some jobs. Something. Or we're going to have more homeless people, or an even dying city, because more people were going to leave. If somebody wasn't smart enough to do something, it may not have been what a lot of folks wanted, but it was some people that were happy to be able to at least go back to school and take an opportunity at another trade, whatever it was. And then, not only that, some of my clients endured the loss of a job at Whirlpool factory. Somebody had to do something. Caddying is not an all-around year job, but it paid good. It learned some of the ones that caddied on the golf court was happy. Was very happy. Got a chance to travel around the country where the weather is nice and warm and caddy some more. Meeting people, networking. Some of them probably own their own businesses. But somebody had to do something instead of just sitting still and lip servicing. Wow. I'm just, oof. I'm no way tired, that's for sure, because there's still a whole lot to be done. And I just want everybody to take notice that your vote is very important, more important than you know. And not just in tomorrow's election and the elections to come. Because there's some folks that died for us to have the right to vote. And I just encourage everybody to exercise their right because it's yours. And you should treat it like gold. Thank you.
Commissioner Singleton. Sorry about that.
Thank you, Honorable Pro Tem.
Appreciate you.
Went out on a training with the Michigan Municipal League, a convention, and it was real good. You know, they had one thing good to do that networking and seeing what other people are doing in their communities and stuff. You know, you might find some good things that might work in your own. They had some breakout sessions, and one of the ones we went to, well, it was a few of us because you got a chance to pick which ones you want. It was one called Walking While Black, and it was put on by they showed a movie, 90-minute movie. It was put on by the Michigan Black Caucus, was doing the presenting. And watching that movie, I think it was about 4 or 5 of us from Benton Harbor sitting there. And halfway through the movie, we end up, wait a minute, we see a Benton Harbor case, where, the young man got the charges put on him, everybody know the Andrew Collins case. So they were in there talking about how that went down and, how they made up and all that stuff. But it did bring back some memories, for me, in the police department. But, I think the awareness is out there. And it's, some progress, but it's a long way to go. Let me say that, Another session was put on by this marketing person from Detroit. It was talked about how to tell the story about your city, how to market your city. And they had some great ideas, some great things that I'll be bringing to the Communications Committee, was sharing some ideas with them to maybe we could implement it. It might work for us, but it's basically telling the story of your city. If you're not talking good about it, how do you expect, folks to come in, want to come? But they talked about marketing and then making it a place where folks want to, if they read about your city or hear something about your city, that they want to come, come and visit and hopefully stay. So it's some good things. I think there's a couple other events that we went to, met some people that was on school boards too, that had some similar issues that we have. And so, it was just good to sit around and network and see that we're not the only ones, but a lot of folks were interested in some of the things that we had to say because we all spoke to the one session, and that was the talk of the convention. We walked around. Oh, you're from Benton Harbor. You guys, boy. So it was good. So the next one they have, I hope for anybody who haven't went, I think you ought to go if you're gonna be in this arena. It's good to get new options, find out new things and stuff. So that's it.
Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Just like to thank all the residents for coming out tonight. West Michigan's Feeding America for coming out. I actually work with them in the school system. I run a pantry at one of the schools, and so it is great, but to see them expanding and creating some food clubs. And congratulations to Dr. Butts, who I think has been doing a great job really getting to know the community and the staff and the teachers and listening to what really needs to happen in the district. And I think a lot of great things will be happening as a result. Like everyone else has said, tomorrow is an election day. Get out and vote. Our votes do matter. Elections do have consequences. And so please get out and vote tomorrow. As somebody said, vote your conscience, vote for the issues that are at hand, especially vote on the renewal millage that'll be happening tomorrow for the city. That's very important, the operating millage. So please vote on that issue. And with that said, thank you, and everybody have a great evening.
I want to first, before my comments, have a moment of silence for Coach Lou Harvey. If we can have a moment of silence for him for at least 1 minute. A moment of silence for Coach Lou Harvey. Thank you. I do encourage each and every one of us to continue to move forward and keep going, help to better the city of Benton Harbor, no matter who you are, where you are, what part you play in the city. Benton Harbor is a city that's on the move, it's thriving, people are coming, people are watching, and things are happening rapid pace. My uncle, who passed away at 98 years old, he said something. I remember we were sitting at Jay's restaurant. There was a man behind us who was complaining about how much education cost. And all of a sudden, my uncle turned around to him. He said, "You think that's expensive? Try being ignorant." Y'all will catch that later. Ignorance is a little bit more expensive than being educated. Our people perish for the lack of knowledge. I also am grateful for Pastor Robinson, Second Baptist, being here with us today, leading us in invocation. Also, one of our pioneers, our matriarchs of our city, Mr. Meeks is here, former County Commissioner Meeks. Glad to have you in our presence. Tomorrow's going to be a good day, big day, huge day. Things happen, things change. Things, if I was the mayor, he always pull out a song. And Scarface said, "I never seen a man cry till I seen a man die." And I've seen many tears in elections. People become hurt, overwhelmed, because they put everything in it, and everybody expects to win, but everybody can become a winner if we learn how to work together. The only way Benton Harbor is going to win is no matter who's in these seats becoming a unit and working together. A house divided against itself cannot stand. It won't work. And we've come a long way from where we were. Take a ride around this community. If you see roads that are being dug down 5 to 6 feet, that means there's changes coming.
It's here.
Infrastructure is happening. And I'm grateful, and I hear the sounds of gladness in the room. It is because of the people. But it's because the people voted for people that know how to vote, because the people can't sit behind here and have 9 votes. That's like, I'm gonna say this and I'm done. That's like y'all who keep telling y'all kids that Santa Claus the one bringing presents. And you ain't even got no chimney. But you keep saying Santa Claus bringing all the presents. And you ain't got no chimney. There's nothing wrong with saying thank you when somebody's doing something they don't have to do. Just like somebody said Barack Obama wasn't their president until he started giving tax breaks, and then he stood in line and said, I want some of them. They said Trump wasn't their president, but Trump was still the president no matter if you like it or not. But that's why I'm gonna leave it at this. That's why the Bible says, for y'all that believe the Bible, whatever you believe in, it says pray for them. Pray for the rulers and governors of this life, that they might lead a quiet and peaceable life with all godliness and all honesty and integrity. That's what it says. So whether you like it or not, the Bible is right. Somebody else might be wrong. But if you don't want to believe the Bible, there's something wrong with you. Because then we'll go cross somewhere else and start shouting like Hattie gone south. We on our way. Thank you. And what you call point of order, everything ceases. I'm done.
Yeah.
All right. Make a motion to adjourn.
To adjourn.
Could you please? No, that was some of that water from over there. Wasn't what, yeah. That was from that hot water tank that went bad. Go ahead. Go ahead. Call the roll.
Commissioner Adams?
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Griffin?
Yes.
Commissioner Edwards?
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson?
Yes.
Commissioner Henry?
Yes.
Commissioner Isom?
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Seats?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Kids, they not that God. They got